Welcome to What's in a Game. On today's show, the season keeps churning along, but how much longer must Nuggets fans wait to see this team at full strength? Will and I break down the latest that we know on the Nuggets injuries amid the seemingly endless month of January. Stay tuned. Welcome back to What's in a Game. I'm Grace Jean here with my co-host Will Jones. How are you doing today, Will?
I'm doing pretty good. Nuggets lost a devastating game last night versus the Pistons. So I don't like having to do a podcast after a loss, obviously, but
the show must go on.
Yeah, I'm not as sad about it as I feel like a lot of people were, even though it was like the way you lost was horrible. But I feel like my opinions of each player, which shifts from game to game, admittedly, when you're like have to come on and talk about it every once in a while, my opinions would be worse if we like got blown out. I'd be like, although there is context, which I wonder how much of an excuse you buy into with regards to the travel situation.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I mean, I didn't expect the game to be close. Like how the game started, it was how I expected it to go. So it was kind of annoying that I'm like, okay, it wasn't. Here's the thing is in the second half, I did think that Denver did like some good stuff, but it was mostly like the Pistons like throwing that game away in the second half. So I was like, I don't feel like differently about like where this team is at right now based on their ability to keep this game close. It was more like I look even lower on the Pistons after that game.
I know.
Which I'm sure a friend of the show, Matt Moore, would be like, oh, of course, because you think every team sucks. So I'm like, I don't think every team sucks, but like that Pistons offense was nasty.
Yeah. They did some good, like they were super physical, very aggressive. Yeah,
that's why they're the number 2 defense. And I'm really impressed with what JB Bickerstaff has been able to do with that team. Last year, already like a big turnaround and then like making another huge leap on that end of the floor to the point where they can be in like pole position to win the conference. Despite that nasty offense is impressive, but it was just like, you know?
Yeah, the Thunder made their championship run off of defense and shifted to that. And I mean, I still think offense is really important. So when I saw how badly they were shooting, I was just like, I'm surprised that they are the number 1 team in the East. And it makes me skeptical about their ability to go far in the playoffs, just because like if you don't shoot well from 3 and teams start playing better in the playoffs, it can catch you by surprise and you can be eliminated. But I don't know, like if they are just one of those teams that foul a lot and grabs and they get away with it kind of, which is what a lot of teams are trying to do. And it's like a trend in a way and they're good at doing it. Then that's a definite reason why they have advantages.
Yeah, they're like, I mean, I get that. It's like, yeah, force them to blow the whistle. And they've got enough bodies that like, that's fine. You know, I'm pretty sure Ron Holland is coming off the bench for them. So you have like another defender who can come in and like take the fouls and like doesn't have to worry about like playing time or like that kind of thing. Man, I really, okay. I want to say one more thing before we go too in depth on the Pistons stuff, because we have so much to get into on the show today. But the Pistons defense, oh man, I totally lost the thought. Yakoslav said Pistons need to get Russ to improve 3-point shooting. I mean, it was really bad. It was really bad last night. I lost the thought. Maybe it'll come back to me. It was something to do with the Pistons defense.
I was thinking of Tim Hardaway as well and how he left the Pistons to play on the Nuggets. And you'd think, like when he signed for us, I'm like, yeah, he wants a chance to contend and win a championship. I didn't think the Pistons were gonna be there, even though they were getting better.
They're a good young team.
And here they are. They're like in position to possibly get to the finals in the East. You never know. And I'm like, oh, he could have stayed there. Imagine if they had his shooting with this defense and stuff like that.
Yeah, instead of like Duncan Robinson was a disaster yesterday. And I was surprised because I didn't think that Duncan was going to be an upgrade on Tim, but I thought he would help fill the void left by there was somebody else that they lost in free agency that was like a decent part of their offense. But like Duncan is like a fine player, right? So I was like, oh yeah, they're playing him like basically an MLE to come in and like fill in. He was kind of a disaster last night. I don't know how Pistons fans feel overall about Duncan's season so far, because I haven't watched as many Pistons games this year. Vyacheslav, Malik, and THJ missing from last year. Malik, yes. That's what I was thinking of, was Malik Beasley and Duncan Robinson filling that role. But yeah, they are missing two pretty like, even if they're not consistent shooters, although Malik really was last season. Tim like is going to get the attempts up for sure, and we'll talk about that and his role in that with our offense as well. Okay, we have like a million things to get to today, including breaking down some stuff from the Pistons game. So let's get into it here. But first, a couple of programming notes. Will and I, we're going to be doing a live trade deadline show next Thursday, February 5th, because the trade deadline like snuck up on us. It's so weird because you'd think that we would have been thinking about it more this month, but that's perhaps a testament to how well the team has been playing despite all of the injuries.
Yeah.
Just besides the Grizzlies, I don't think there's a more injured team this season, just in terms of like total like money times like games missed. And there have been some really injured teams and teams like missing their star, but when you're missing like Jokic and like three other starters for an entire month, that's tough. And yet they're 9-6 without Jokic so far, which is like really impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, trade deadline crept right up on us, and we're going to be doing a live show next Thursday at the deadline. We haven't decided a time yet, so look out for that announcement. We'll probably start like an hour before the actual deadline, talk about some moves as they come in. I'm sure we're going to start getting some like rumors of stuff next week and all of that. Please do us a favor, hit the like and subscribe buttons. It really helps us out with the algorithm as we try and grow the channel. All right. Speaking of the trade deadline, we got to get to some news. But before we hit on trade deadline and rumor stuff, well, like we got to touch a little bit on what's going on in Minneapolis, what's going on with the government, again, like killing people in the street again, I don't talk about politics a lot online or on this show, mostly because I was a very politically active online in years past, and it was very unproductive on my part. Things are different now. I have this platform, I have this channel, all that stuff. Love talking sports. I want to focus on sports, but I think it would be unconscionable to let this week pass without saying how completely fucked up it was, what happened to Alex Preddy, what is continuing to happen on the streets of Minneapolis and the streets of so many cities across the country, not just to American citizens, but to foreign nationals who are here on American soil, complete, disregard for human life, human rights, ethics, all that stuff. And the reason I felt the need to say this is because there are people on my timeline who are justifying state-sanctioned murder. And apparently you need to come out and say like, oh yeah, that's not okay. Mm-hmm. Because there are people who claim to be, defenders of freedom and justice who are willing to, carry water for whoever, like whichever party is in power, as long as it's their side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I've seen on many other sports podcasts, people talk about it. And Cam Johnson talked about it. I was happy to see Cam from the Nuggets say something on Old Man in the Three. That was great. And Tyrese Halliburton tweeted about it. The game got canceled in Minnesota after all that. Don't want people going out when it's this unpredictable and dangerous for people. And yeah, it's bad. And I definitely talk about it a lot and rant and vent about politics on Twitter if you follow me. And I don't say a lot on the show, of course, but I will not hesitate to say stuff online and fight people.
Absolutely not. You don't hesitate to say much online, Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I felt the need to say that, and I was like, do I save this till the end of the show? Like, no, I'm going to say it at the top of the show. so that everybody who's watching gets it at the very beginning. And if you want to stop watching, that's on you. Because of it. But I, felt the need to say that. And yeah, people just like, can people be normal for like 2 seconds? And I don't mean government, because the government can't. Right, and this government in particular can't, but generally they can't. And I have been, if anyone was wondering about my politics, I have no fucking problem criticizing whoever is in charge, because I am so against so much of what, this and past governments have been up to with regard to human rights abuses, both here and abroad, by the way. But if anybody was wondering like where my politics lie, like you really should. All right. Now we can move on to some lighter matters in the meantime, because we have that privilege. All right. First news item here. Giannis Antetokounmpo is, quote, well, did you see this Shams post?
Yeah,
ready for a new home. So I'll read directly from the Shams report here on Giannis. It says, two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo is ready for a new home at the February 5th NBA trade deadline or in the offseason, as several rival teams make aggressive offers to the Milwaukee Bucks for him. And the franchise is starting to listen, league sources tell ESPN. And my response to this is, does this mean Giannis has requested a trade? And I don't ask this because I think that there's even a chance that Giannis wants to stay in Milwaukee. It's abundantly clear to any Nuggets fan who's watched the last 2 Milwaukee Bucks games, or anybody who's watched the Milwaukee Bucks this year or watched the Milwaukee Bucks last year, that Giannis does not want to be there. And yet, no formal trade request, to my knowledge, has been initiated, despite rumors about mutual interest between Giannis and teams like the Knicks, teams like the Heat, whatever. Will, what was your response to seeing this report from Shams today, like literally a couple hours before we do this show?
First, to check whether it was fake, because that's just how it is when, it's with the fake Shams account, possibly, you never know. But then just the wording is what caught my eye, and just laughing at that and just wanting to make fun of it because of how passive aggressive Giannis is in this process. Yeah, so I was just having a good time with it. It's like, yeah, Giannis wants to have a new home. It might happen now. It might happen later. Did he demand a trade? I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't.
He didn't, is that wasn't the report. And if he had, that would have been the report, because that's like unambiguous, lots and lots of shares and all of that. I mean, even this, like, I'm looking at the post from Shams right now. It only has 71,000 reposts. If it had said Giannis request trade, it'd be in the hundreds of thousands. Right? Because it'd be like,
just so funny.
Not like the latest chapter in not the latest chapter in a long series of this like melodrama between Giannis and the Bucks.
And he got hurt in the Nuggets game. So, right? So would it be, if he does get traded at the deadline and he's out with this injury, could have been his last minutes on the Bucks versus the Nuggets.
What a last game.
And we beat the Bucks twice without Jokic, and it's kind of, the Bucks are obviously struggling. They might have lost to anyone, but I'm going to just take credit for this and say the Nuggets ended the Giannis Bucks era.
If Doc Rivers gets fired again, does that count as Jokic getting another coach fired?
Yeah. I feel like he might get fired, or just, I don't know if he has a contract or what.
He does. They signed him to a 5-year deal when they hired him. Was that
maybe he'll be around
the year before last year, right? So 1, 2, he's got this year and 2 more after this, I think. Snoozer says Giannis demanding a trade or not is just PR technicality. He obviously wants out. Yes, I know it's a PR technicality, which is why I'm like, I'm annoyed by it. Like, just request a trade. It is so much worse to drag this out. I made this joke because I don't remember what happened immediately after the last Nuggets Bucks game, but Giannis said some passive aggressive stuff. Not really passive aggressive. It was kind of like aggressive stuff about how the team is like playing selfish and all that. And he has been saying that for a couple weeks now. It wasn't the first time that he had said that after a game. And I said, like, Giannis is just doing what all of us have done at one point. It's like trying to like drag out a relationship that you don't want to initiate the ending of, and trying to let it fizzle out, but it just becomes like more painful for both parties as the resentment starts to grow and grow from both sides, rather than just saying, I want to break up with you. Okay. Caesar says, I do feel for him. Nobody normal wants to be the guy that forces his way out. Okay. But he wants to go. Like, doesn't he want to go? He would have been gone already. Giannis never demands directly. That's true. That's how he got Drew and Chris like treated, is that he's just
I don't think Giannis needs to be ashamed, even if he did ask for it directly.
No,
but
he
whatever
doesn't.
He comes from.
You and I talked about this last summer. We said, Giannis, if there was ever a time that you would be completely and totally justified in asking out and then just being like, let's just find a place that's good for me and like a terms that will work for the Milwaukee Bucks. It was this last summer after Damian Lillard tore his Achilles, before they waive and stretch him and like have that money on their books for like five more years. It's like now it just becomes this like long drawn out, like not even a divorce because nobody has filed. It's like a trial separation that's gone on for years. Do you think the Nuggets should make offers, Grace and Will? I mean, it would be very difficult for the Nuggets to trade for Giannis. He's on a supermax contract. I also think that the Bucks at this point have to be prioritizing draft capital, which we just don't have.
But I did see some.
So like, no, it's just like it's too complicated. Even if you involve a third team, like Denver would have to give up too much. Not just because of like what the Bucks like want and need to be compensated for Giannis, but because of the size of his contract, like literally just to fit his money on our books, we'd be giving up a lot. And as we've seen this season, like sometimes it's better to have the depth, than the top end talent, especially if the trade-off is like no depth on the back end, which is what you get.
If Giannis demanded it, maybe there'd be more leverage, but
if Giannis demanded it and said that he's okay playing with the ball in his hands less, then sure, we can talk. But
yeah, I mean, we're gonna do a Giannis draft later of destinations that would be like the most terrifying for us. But the like teams that are on the rumor, like that are rumored to be interested are Heat, Knicks, Warriors, Raptors are like the top kind of teams that I'm hearing. So we'll see if any of that comes to fruition.
Yeah. We'll get to a segment in the show where we talk a little bit more about some potential Giannis trade destinations and how we feel about, his fit there. But we got some of our own trade deadline / off season stuff coming up, but just final kind of thoughts on this. I don't think Giannis is going to get traded at the deadline. Someone could come out of nowhere and like totally shock me, but there's no reason to do it right now. A team that's trying to win right now would have to give up too much in the middle of the season to get him, just to make everything work with like money and all of that. It'd be like similar to like a Kevin Durant Suns situation where they like obliterated their depth to try to make the midseason move, when they could have just done it in the offseason and maybe had more, there would have been more flexibility, get some other teams involved and like not have to do things the way that they did. And then a team that isn't desperate to win immediately is also willing to wait until the summer. And Milwaukee is probably going to get a better, I don't know if they'd get a better deal. Like it may not matter to them, like when this happens, in terms of like what the return would be. But David. I mean, if according to this Shams report, Giannis is willing to, it's fine being traded at the deadline. but also would be willing to wait. So as long as he's not going to like make things more uncomfortable in the meantime, then I think Milwaukee would just wait until more teams can get in on the bidding, right? Like they would basically control the offseason if they wait until the summer to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Couple questions I just want to do before we go to the next thing. With the improvement of Jamal on the bench, do you see a 10+ win streak when everyone's healthy? You never know. We've never done it with Jokic, so but this could be one of the best teams Jokic had, depending. It depends on like rotations and
they had an opportunity earlier this year. I don't know. This team kind of sucks at home now, like relative to what you'd expect, and they've got a very home heavy like back part of the year. So now I'm like, I don't know. That was supposed to be a good thing having all these home games, but apparently not. They lost at home again last night. Mm-hmm. No energy to start that game, by the way, which we will talk about. I mean, sure, like it could happen. Like the team's good enough. That's not really the question. I thought that this January would have been a really good opportunity for it if everybody had been healthy, because if you look at the quality of team that Denver's been facing this month, it's like all lottery teams. And then there was one non-lottery. The Pistons, I think, are the only Pistons and Lakers are the only non-lottery teams that the Nuggets have played without Jokic.
Yeah, it's been bad. It's been
they played the Celtics, so 3 teams. And then that's 2 games against the Bucks, so that's 4 games. I mean, the 76ers are like a lottery team at their core, so I count them. Okay, let's say 5 games. So like less than half of their games have been against playoff teams. And like for a team that is as dominant as Denver was to start the season, they would have been favored in every single game that they went into this month. Pretty like at least comfortably. So I thought that even though like it's a dense month, like we had a lot, like the most back-to-backs in January and all of that, it was like a, okay month in terms of like strength of schedule. I don't know, like the rest of the season is a little bit, tougher, especially because like we've been talking about, a lot of the marquee matchups have been backloaded in the schedule. Like we literally play the Thunder for the first time on February 1st. So there's like 4 matchups in there starting in the last like 40% of the year. Yeah. So I don't know, like it could happen, but I'm not going to expect it.
Yeah. Well, let's get into these rumors around the Nuggets, because there's been a couple of interesting little tidbits that we got recently that aren't just related to Giannis. So
first one here that we got this morning is some restricted free agency rumors about Peyton Watson. So Jake Fisher reported through this via the Stein line that the Lakers are a team that are going to be very interested in Peyton Watson this summer. They are, quote, preparing to make a run at him this summer. Now, for Peyton Watson. Now, reminder, Peyton Watson is going to be a restricted free agent. The reason that this is even a question is because Denver doesn't want to go into the second apron to pay Peyton Watson or pay anybody. They don't want to go into the second apron period. But they're not treating it as a hard cap. They're not scared of it. They're just, aware of it or whatever. But Josh wants you to know that he's not scared of the second. Eye roll.
Good.
That's good. And obviously Peyton Watson has played really well this season and is probably going to get more than he would have gotten this last summer if Denver had just extended him. By how much, I don't know. We've talked about on the show that honestly, it's not unprecedented, but like a lot of these like bench wings that have these like hot stretches where they like show off more of their particularly scoring skill. The only other like big example I could think of in the last few years is Jonathan Kuminga. Most of the time when a player's having this kind of breakout, they're already a starter, right?
Mm.
And Kuminga has kind of been in and out of the Warriors lineup periods. Like Peyton's been more consistently in the rotation. But he hasn't been a consistent starter until this season with all the injuries, right? But that didn't seem to, like, Kuminga having a similar stretch didn't seem to move the needle for teams that were interested in, like, signing a, like, at least theoretically two-way wing with some, like, scoring ability and lots of athleticism, which surprised me last summer. Like, as low as I am on the restricted free agency market from the perspective of the player, like, it's a bad market, like, and it's been made worse by the new CBA. Kuminga's younger than Peyton Watson.
Mm.
And the Nets still didn't want to just like take that swing with they're like, nope, we'd rather have cap space and sign 5 rookies
Mm-hmm.
who, like,
Yeah.
4 of which are going to play in the G League all year. Like, very strange. And
yeah, it's weird how, I mean, if the perception kind of has changed with this whole dilemma and just back and forth with Kerr and being in and out of the rotation, like your value does go down. Like even if you have the ability to play, if you're just not playing,
yeah,
and you're out of the rotation,
that's a good point. That's a big difference because, like, with all of Peyton's like inconsistencies over his first 3 years, and obviously his rookie year was a red shirt, so that's like a big differentiator with Kuminga, who was kind of like not a permanent fixture of the rotation, but he was playing. Peyton really didn't play until like the last few games of that season. Even with, and maybe it helped that like we had no depth in like previous years, but even this season, like he's not one of the guys that is like on the outside looking in when everybody's healthy. And he didn't start this season like particularly well coming off the bench, but especially once he started to fill in for starters, really took off. Like Malone was not somebody that was going to excise Peyton from the rotation. And that's a testament to like Peyton, maybe in like that the relationship between Peyton Watson and Michael Malone was not as bad. I don't know how much that says as the relationship between Jonathan Kuminga and Steve Kerr is the point I'm trying to make here.
Definitely.
Which definitely helps with that value conversation for his contract talks.
We have a comment from Triple Dubs Basketball who has Pwat in his profile picture but wants to sell high on him and trade him because he struggled versus the Pistons and doesn't know if he can play in the playoffs, and trade him to get off Zeke. Yeah, he did not have a great game yesterday. Obviously, we don't know if he's going to be a 16-game type of player and be as good as he has been in the scenario when we're running to a title in the playoffs. We'll see. But I don't think they're going to sell high now and trade him. And there's reports that the Nuggets are...
It's not even selling high. The thing is, like, selling high would have been like if Peyton had this kind of season last year, because it's difficult to get value back for a player in the middle of the last year of his rookie deal, because even though his new team gets his RFA rights, they don't really get as much time like with him to evaluate him on their team. It's not like, when Josh Giddey got traded to the Bulls. I mean, whatever, but they were willing to trade Caruso because they're like, well, we'll get his RFA rights and we get a full year to evaluate him and decide like if we want to keep him, how much we want to pay for him based on his production impact, etc. So you won't get as much back when the player is in the last year of that deal.
Yeah.
Right. Unless it's like they are playing so well. Like, I think Payne's kind of like still on that bubble because as well as he's played, especially offensively, like we've seen like scoring explosions, the shooting has been a huge part of that. Right. But teams can like see it from like the other team's perspective is like, is this a hot stretch? I don't know. There's still some like kind of question marks about the totality of his game. That kind of thing. But
yeah, I mean, we get to see him play out the rest of the season and play in the playoffs, and that can determine his value to other teams. I mean, they're going to be interested and make offers. Nuggets will be able to match if they want. And if he plays really well and helps us win a title, then more power to us to pay whatever we want to pay to keep him. But there's still like ways to go. Like most players don't just get a huge contract to the level even that Christian Brown got from 1 month of really good play. Like it takes a couple seasons or at least one playoff run. Like Pwat's not really played in the playoffs in any meaningful capacity yet. So I think it's going to benefit us to actually see how the rest of this goes. And I think he's going to have bad games like against the Pistons every once in a while, but I still think he's going to be great for us and I'm excited. And there's reports that the Nuggets are refusing trade offers for him and that they're going to do whatever they can.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
they're obviously refusing trade offers because they haven't
traded him.
But I'm curious to know what those trade offers are, or even rumored to be. I'm just curious, like what the value is like around the league right now.
I think Pwat could be traded even if we extended him, but it would have to be after a certain amount of time. There was
I mean, it would just be like any other December 15th, just like any other free agent at that point. It's not like you have to. Which is the other reason that I'm like, Denver shouldn't let him walk for nothing because they could just sign him and then trade him later if he's like that good.
There was
like I guess like the worst case scenario is like the Lakers offer him like $30 million a year, which I don't think they're gonna do because like they're cheap. They offer him $30 million a year, and then you have to match that, and then he like falls off a cliff, right? But I still don't see that happening, especially because we'll get to it when we get to our offseason talks, but this has been a recurrent problem for restricted free agents, which I think is like part of what needs to be reformed about restricted free agency is the process. If you're not like a cap space team, which the Lakers will be next season if they just kind of let LeBron like walk off their books.
I think they will.
Which it's, become increasingly more likely. I wonder where LeBron's going to retire. Like, that's such an interesting question.
Well, the report came out that they're thinking it's Cleveland. They would welcome him back.
I've seen people like of course Cleveland would welcome him. Like, they're sad right now.
Yeah, they used to be in the position of no, we don't need him.
They should have traded for him last summer, but now they're like, we just want to put butts in seats. But what was I talking about? The restricted free agency market. Those talks can drag on, and if your team, like the Lakers did with Austin Reeves, indicates to the rest of the league, we will match anything. So don't waste your time and like tie up your cap space with an offer sheet to our restricted free agent for an offer that like is not gonna, like, it's not gonna go through because we're just gonna match it. And then you're gonna miss out on other free agents in that meantime.
Yeah, timing is really interesting.
And I need to take a look at the rules again on like the how long your home team has to match those offer sheets. It's not indefinite, but it's like a long time as far as I know. It might be something like 2 weeks. And like we know like 2 days is like a long time with free agency because like everything happens very quickly with free agency. We'll continue talking about the Peyton Watson situation. The other report that to your point about the Nuggets potentially refusing trade offers, Ryan Blackburn had some reporting out that the Nuggets are reportedly trying to duck the luxury tax this trade deadline. So trying to shop literally anybody. They're like, will anyone take anybody on our roster or like anybody like with a smaller contract anyways, just so we can get $500,000 under this luxury tax line and also have enough space to convert Spencer Jones under the luxury tax. Like that's very important to them so that they can get out of the repeater. And Ryan also said that the Nuggets are also reportedly trying to create more, like set up their books for the summer to create room to sign Peyton, match an offer, whatever, so that they can sign him without going over the second apron. I'm very curious about what those gymnastics could look like, because I've seen some suggestion that like, well, they should trade AG. I think Jokic
Yeah.
so pissed.
AG.
Jokic might actually be more mad about that than I would be. And I would be so mad about that. I know he's been injured, like all this stuff, but he's Mr. Nugget.
Yeah.
GP of St. John says, would the front office consider going over the second apron if Jokic said he will leave if they don't re-sign Pwat? I don't know.
But he could. I mean, he's got the extension coming. Could be possible leverage.
Correct.
But, you know.
Correct.
We'll see.
And I think he should be watching these people like hawks. All right. Anything else you want to say about the Peyton Watson situation?
Not about Peyton Watson, but just if we're talking like rumors of the trade deadline and stuff, it does feel nice to not have to make a move like we're craving to contend. Like I think we're set up really well right now. But also I did see rumors from unofficial source Ari on Twitter. He's reported some stuff and has been right about some stuff, wrong about some stuff. But he said the Nuggets are trying to trade Zeke Najee, which you could just guess that just from not even hearing. You don't need a source to understand that they might be trying to trade him.
Trying to get Zeke Najee traded. Me first.
So
yeah,
you never know. That could be something that's coming up.
Water is wet. Well, they're trying. Like they've been reportedly trying to trade Zeke Najee since right after they gave him that extension. So we'll see what comes of it. They don't really have, I mean, some just like second round draft capital would be really helpful right now to be like, hey team, can you just take Hunter Tyson? Just take that. And that would get us under luxury tax, be enough money to at least re-sign Spencer. And then you can revisit the other questions in the summer. I don't know. Or have not signed Zeke to that contract extension, but here we go. Was there anything else I wanted to say about the Peyton Watson situation? No, we'll continue to monitor. It's not really relevant to the trade deadline. Like I would be pretty shocked if anything happened with Peyton at the trade deadline. The other thing that I think it was Ryan that said this with the Nuggets trying to create room is that they're trying to trade players that would not interfere with their quote unquote preferred rotation. So I think that's really like Zeke and Julian and Hunter. Even though Julian's been playing better, and we're going to talk about that. Maybe he'd be easy to trade. Like I could see a team just being like, yeah, we'll take him. And he's still on his rookie contract. Like you might be able to get like a second back, a second or two back for Julian. Really curious about that. But I don't think that would mean anybody else getting traded. Unless they're lying to us again, which they did very successfully over the summer. So,
yeah.
All right. Last piece of news before we dig into the games. AG out with a hamstring strain that he sustained last week during the Bucks game, right before halftime. And that kind of sucks because it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back with these injuries and this roster. Jokic still out. He did not play in the Pistons game like a lot of people predicted that he might. And I don't know exactly when he's supposed to come back, but Sham said he's in the ramp up period. But as we know, as most of you probably know, setbacks can happen and that kind of thing. And that's kind of what it feels like happened, because it seemed like a few weeks ago Jokic was going to come back early. And then maybe there was some kind of setback. DA kind of talked about like good days and bad days. And, that happens. It kind of sucks because I'm like, it's all fine and dandy when we were watching this like Jokic-less team be like scrappy and like, really like eke out some like crazy wins against like some bad teams and some really good teams. I'm over it. Like,
yeah.
I want Jokic healthy, but I want Jokic back. Right?
Yeah. And I was worried we wouldn't win another game last week's show and like saying I want Jokic to come back, and we did beat the Wizards and the Bucks. We're gonna go over that
It's not
here in
about
just
the
a second.
wins anymore. It's
But
like, man, it's like these games are like a really tough watch. And also, and I don't want Jokic to come back earlier than he needs to. I want him to be better and like ready to come back. That's what I'm wishing for right now, because I want this team to like establish some chemistry. This is a team that's still 24th in defense right now. And they were not great before Jokic's injury either. Like, they need to establish some chemistry on that end. I want to see what it looks like with Jokic and Peyton Watson with some increased, on-ball responsibility. Like, how can we integrate that into the offense? Like, I actually have more questions about how this team works together. Not like quantity questions, like how good they are, like valuation questions. Just like, I want to see what this looks like when everybody's together, because of how well guys have been playing.
Yeah. It's hard to wait. It's hard to wait because we look amazing. And if these guys continue to play like this, who are stepping into these roles, the sky's the limit for this roster for sure. And I'm super excited about it. And I think that's why I'm not as mad when we lose these games, like as rough as it is and frustrating.
So you're like, this will get
I'm just like,
we're
going to be so good. We're going to be so good when they come back.
Oh, yeah, that too.
But it's hard to wait. And it is like worrying. Like, you worry about Jamal. Like, some people were even worrying he looked injured in the game last night versus the Pistons. Is he playing too much?
Like, worn down, dude.
Yeah, worn down. And they sat on the plane for like 7 hours or something, 8 hours in Memphis. So they didn't really get to rest. They were like cramped up. And yeah, we got a comment from Vyacheslav who, said they're not in a hurry to get Yoke back. He's too important. They better be, because right now they are 2 for 2 or 2 of 3 because Val just came back and he's still playing. He hasn't re-aggravated his injury, but CB and AG have both aggravated their injury and are out again. So they better be cautious.
And to the point about Christian, like I talked about this last week, we haven't heard anything about Christian. That's still true. Like, Christian is just out. He's just been out on the injury report like forever. With, the last we heard about him is like, well, DA was, saying something about how they don't want him to like come back too soon. I'm like, but he was back. He didn't look good. So he came back too soon. Okay. But like, when do you expect him to not be back? Saw some people like pushing back on me saying this, because it was like, well, like, you want him to come back too soon if they like have a date. And it's like, no, like, I want to know when he's going to be, I want to know what's wrong with him and when he'll be reevaluated. When he initially hurt his ankle, they're like, he will be reevaluated in 6 to 8 weeks. I was like, okay. He came back, 6 weeks later, didn't look good, and just went out and has been just out indefinitely since. It's just a really annoying information stream. I just want to know what the hell's going on with this player that we hope that we'll have for the playoffs, but there's no guarantee of that. And I mean, the longer this goes on, the likely, like, I saw some people saying that he might need surgery, and that was like pure, like, reckless speculation. But it's like, I don't know, maybe, like,
and he hurt
I
his
don't know.
ankle, right?
They haven't told us anything. Yes.
He has an ankle injury. I mean, I've seen horrible ankle twists in the NBA, and the players don't miss a game, or they miss like one game. And ankles are weird like that. Like, you think it's going to be really bad, and then it's not. And then sometimes you have something like this where it's lingering way more than you would think. But yeah, Steven Adams just went out with, he's going to have season-ending ankle surgery. That's crazy too.
Yeah.
That's a big one for the Rockets, and good for us. I feel bad for Steven Adams. He's a great dude and cool player. But I don't have to worry about that double big anymore, I guess.
I mean, the double big was easier to guard.
Yeah.
I mean, so. Kind of, because of the offensive rebounding and all that, but yeah, it definitely. Well, unfortunately, it reduces the threat of the Rockets for OKC too, which is annoying. Mm-hmm. But I guess we still have the Spurs out there. who are unfortunately just a threat to everybody because they've got Wemby and a bunch of skilled guards. In all this talk about the injuries, like I just wanted to mention this. Cam Johnson, he still exists. He's still on this roster. He's still on this team. We haven't really talked about him and what missing him has meant for the team. Because everybody else has also been out. But I think he's set to be reevaluated very soon, and he might be back. I mean, at this point, likely back before Christian is. I wonder where he's at with his ramp up because he and Jokic both had the same thing, a bone bruise, not necessarily to the same degree or even in the same specific area of the knee. But they had like similar reevaluation timelines and all of that too. So he's kind of also been like quietly lurking in the background as like somebody that's supposed to, slated to come back. And I think that'll definitely help out. But it's more just like we've played the like all but 13? Was it 13 games when we lost Christian? And then like we haven't had a game with like our core rotation fully healthy since game 13 of the season. And they've played 44 games.
I just really do not want injuries to cost the Nuggets and Jokic another title because we've already been there. And yeah, it would just suck to look back on Jokic's career and be like, man, it was just so many injuries around him that limited his chances. So hopefully everyone gets right soon. You just got to keep hoping. And at least AG, like they said, he didn't, injure it to the same degree that he did the first time. So if he just rests longer, but hamstrings are always like this. Like you have to rest it. It's hard to heal it fully. You play again, you can aggravate it again. And it's hard to like get traction, especially during the season, to like stay on the court. So we'll just see how it goes. But right now, yeah, it's annoying. But if Jokic comes back, a lot will be much better. So we'll see. If we're a week out, I'll take it.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into the actual games here this past week. So since our last show, the Nuggets have played 3 games. They were going to play 4. It was going to be another 4-game week because of all the back-to-backs this season, this month. It's like I said, January is incredibly dense. The first game after this, they were able to win pretty comfortably. Wizards at Washington, 122-97. They got Val back in that game. And it was a pretty big Peyton Watson offensive game, 35 points. He went 6 of 8 from 3, which was huge. I didn't realize how many points he had until the end of the game. Like the threes like felt big, but I didn't realize he had hit 6 of them, right? And I went back and I was to look at the film because I was like, it didn't feel like he was creating. It wasn't like the Sixers game where it was like nonstop, like Peyton ISO, like rim pressure. They can't guard him, like fouling a lot, getting stuff at the rim, that kind of thing. This was a completely different game where it was exclusively jump shots and floaters. Obviously the threes, which included a lot of catch and shoot. I think there was a pull up or 2 in there as well. Also created some middies, and he did have like one kind of impressive drive with like a finish that you're like, I don't know if he thought that was going to go in. But this was the closest that Peyton got to the restricted area. If you could bring up the close to RA clip here. Which this was like an interesting game to watch from him because of the fact that all of his points were due to these outside buckets.
Yeah, this was a great game from Pwat. I saw him try to almost do that scoop shot in the game last night. It did not go very well.
It did not go very well.
When I saw this in the Wizards game, I was pretty impressed with that level of creativity just in the finish and with the touch and the difficulty of it.
I do think that Wizards game and really every game this week have been like particularly bad defensively from Peyton. And I get it, like it's more offensive responsibility, but it's kind of like a lot of blow-bys, A lot of like falling asleep off the ball and that kind of thing. It didn't matter because it was like the Wizards were like fully tanking in that game. It was so bad. Um, not just missing shots, but like their offensive process and shot diet was terrible. So like a lot of it didn't matter, but it was one of the reasons I was pretty surprised at like Peyton's final stat line because I didn't think that he played that well in that game. But he finished with 30. You can't sneeze at Peyton Watson giving you 35 points, and he ended up a plus 13 in that game anyway. But it was just like notable how like the gap between like how I felt about his game overall and the final like box score. And it was like whatever. It was a Wizards game, I guess. First is that their first game of the road trip because it's like a short. It was like a short East Coast road trip, I think. So it was like whatever. And there were some other good things in that game too. If you could bring up Val scoring early, it was so nice to just have Valanciunas back in the game. This is the first bucket. Peyton Watson runs, pick and roll with him, gets him a nice pocket pass. But look at the angle that Val gets on this screen to completely shed. I think that's Kaishan George, and just get like a full open run to the rim for that layup. And it was like, oh my God, the offense looks so much easier with like somebody who like knows how to screen.
Finally, screen and roll partner. Yeah, Pwat has been operating in that with Val, and the results are interesting to watch.
Yeah. Yeaman says Pwat took too many bad falls in that game. He definitely had some like reckless drives, and I'll talk about it when we get to the Bucks game because there were like a lot of like what are you doing? Like I'm concerned for your safety because of the process that you're taking here. But that speaks to the talent that he has, right? Is that like despite all of that, he was able to make a positive impact and finish the night with 35 points. Okay, let's go to the AG lob breakup. This was really cool and like such a great game from AG. His defense, even though it was like I talked about last week, terrible in the Lakers game. I thought he's been really good defensively since that game. Until the two games that he played since then. Against the Wizards, and then the next one was against the Bucks. He was really good against Giannis in that first half.
Yeah. Man, it was like barely jump on that one.
I know, but he still got it.
Still got
that
it.
wingspan.
Yeah. I mean, he had been playing a little bit limited, like he didn't want to get injured. We had all been noticing that, and he definitely came back.
You play on the second night of a back-to-back against the Milwaukee.
Yeah, that was the issue.
When everyone else was sitting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he had already rested on the back-to-back before that, and it makes sense. He needs at least a day to like recover his body. You can't just keep racking up minutes like this when you're trying to like recover and play at the same time. I don't know. It's not a good idea. And now we're paying the price.
Right. And it's like I've seen we'll talk about it when we get to the Bucks game. Jamal really good in this game. I think he had 24 points. He had just like really good like his footwork in isolation was just so good. And like the Wizards were not trying to guard him. Like I want to be very clear about that. This was a full-on tank game from the Wizards. But Jamal was just like, okay, fine, I'll just look like the best player on the floor. And even though he didn't finish with the most points, he was doing like all the tough creation. If you could bring up the Jamal ISO footwork. I think it was Bub Carrington guarding him on this play.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so they switch out and it's just so precise. And was that, oh yeah, he did get the and one there. I was like, man, he like, and not just like in his face, it was like in his eye. Boop.
Man, he had a lot of all these plays are just reminding me of last night, but I'm just gonna ignore it for now.
I know. Last night in the fourth quarter, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you go to the one Jamal versus pressure.
Jamal taking it up basically from half court and taking it all the way. Man, I love when Jamal has that much space. How can you mess that up as a team playing this Nuggets team?
They were not trying to win the game. Well,
That was a great finish from him.
it was a great finish. I did have one like silly moment that I wanted to show on the podcast because I literally laughed out loud when I was watching the game. You could bring up the Bruce and Spencer block. So this was like a really good defensive play from Bruce. Like, well, is it Bruce or Spencer that gets the steal here? Bruce gets this steal. Beautiful. Goes and runs down in transition, tries to get the layup, gets blocked. Spencer gets the offensive rebound, which I give him credit for. And I don't remember if we ended up scoring on that out of bounds, but he immediately got blocked as well. It was honestly at this point, because you're like, man, Denver should be up like 15 points because we'd been playing that much better than the Wizards. They were not playing well. But like that was the point where I'm like, it's just starting to feel like a no good, very bad day. And I felt like, oh my gosh, they're letting the lead, they're letting it stay close, and then the lead might dwindle late, and that would be like a really bad loss, given the circumstances. But thankfully they were able to extend the lead, and that was not an issue at all. Some other little moments from this game. If you could bring up the Pickett and AG chemistry here, there were a couple of moments. So Jamal runs a handoff for Pickett, and then he's able to find AG on that 45 cut once he gets under the basket. I liked Pickett's aggression here, just like has a little hezzy, but he doesn't hesitate. Like he knows exactly what he's going to do, get downhill, draw on the defense, and then AG just knows exactly when to cut, make himself available for that pass. And it was like perfect offense. For
Pickett. I think people like to think they can either, whether they're trailing Pickett or like any smaller player, make up and recover on the play and get a block from behind or just at the right moment. And I think the Wizards were like lining up. They saw,
and Pickett's like, you fool, block. You think I'm going to take a contested layup?
And then it's on you. So good play by him.
Yeah,
and we got another one here from Pickett too.
This is a pick and roll between Pickett and AG. Nice. Just
AG, just easy roll to the basket.
This is terrible defense, by the way. This is a nice pass from Pickett, but this is terrible defense. Is this Alex Sarr in the drop coverage? I think. Okay, does Pickett deceive the low man there with his eye, like make him think he's going to the corner, and then just shoots that pass to AG under the, like, you can't just let AG just get like right behind Alex Sarr there and have a free layup.
But they did.
And yet they did. And that's the Wizards for you.
Man, what a fun. I'm so glad the Wizards are back to just letting the Nuggets look amazing when we play them.
Oh, yeah. Well, it could have been that way last year because they let everybody else look amazing against them last year. For us.
For some reason they hated us.
Let's see. Anything else from the Wizards game? That was like a fun, like, oh, we're so much better than this team kind of win.
Mm-hmm.
Or like this team that we're playing is so bad kind of win. It was like, you don't really ever feel uncomfortable. I had like fake doom in that third quarter when it was still close, but I was like, just win this game, guys. Okay, we got to talk about the Bucks game because this one was a little bit more interesting, but it shouldn't have been. So the Nuggets get the win against the Bucks 102-100, but this should have been just like a straight up blowout. And it was like the Nuggets were literally up 18 points with less than 6 minutes left in the game. And usually my threshold for starting to relax is 18 with 7 minutes left. So like a full minute off the clock from that, you should be fine. But the Bucks had several opportunities to tie and take the lead in the last like minute and a half of this game. Vyacheslav said, I had a feeling watching 40 minutes of garbage time against the Bucks. Just awful game by both teams. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will say
shooting game.
It was literally garbage time for most of that game. Denver went up double digits almost immediately and then just never looked back until they started to look back in like the last literally 5 minutes of the game. The Bucks, super sad, like terrible team. And they've completely given up. Kyle Kuzma gave us multiple just gifts throughout that game, including missing a potential game-winning 3 at the buzzer, but it like fully airballed. And
Yeah.
that was a game where, like you mentioned, Will Giannis gets injured, and now he's been out since that game, and now it might be his last game as a Buck. It's like, it was a lot. It was really tough watching that game, honestly, because the Bucks, they looked worse than the Wizards. At least the Wizards kind of looked like they were like having fun playing junkyard ball. The Bucks just kind of looked despondent.
Yeah. Trying and failing and just not able to shoot. I mean, neither team could shoot, thankfully for us, and we just did enough to get the victory. But yeah, it was funny at the end how they almost came back in with like the scrubs. But.
Yeah. And really in that game, like you said, neither team could shoot, especially early. I do think that like Tim Hardaway Jr. going like, I think he made like 2 or 3 threes in like a 3-minute span and just opened the lead up. And that was where like the blowout factor began in that game. It was like, oh, look at that. It's like Tim again is that X factor that can help even this like scrappy group start to create some more margin for error when he just makes a couple of buckets. And they're going to be there because he takes so many threes. Like he hasn't stopped shooting even through this slump. But I thought, honestly, he was really bad in the first half of that game. Like, was not making anything. At some point, I think the broadcast said Tim Hardaway Jr. has missed his last 22 threes straight. And that's when he really like got activated. I think he got into it with a fan and then, lit it up in the second half of that game. To put it out, eventually out of reach for the Bucks. So that was cool that it seems like he shot himself out of his slump. Even last night, I was like, Tim's missing a lot. Then I look at the final stat line and he's like 4 of 9 from 3. It's like, okay.
Yeah, he was still kind of slumping, but he made some.
I mean, he made almost half. He made more than an elite shooter. Percentage wise. Other standout from the Bucks game, Bruce Brown. Like, he has been actually really good.
Yeah.
Since I don't have any, besides getting blocked in the Wizards game, I've actually thought he was pretty good in that game. Like, fewer mistakes kind of thing, more defensive playmaking. And then in the Bucks game, and we'll talk about it in the Pistons game too, just like, oh wow, we're getting some offense from Bruce now. So if you could go to the vintage Bruce clip first, because this was just like chef's kiss, like exactly what this team has been needing from Bruce Brown. He's guarding Miles Turner out on an island behind the 3-point line and just steals the ball when he goes to do a handoff with Gary Harris there. And then, gets all the way down to the other basket for that layup. Defense to offense. This is the stuff that other teams are like, shit. Denver got Bruce Brown back. If you could go to the contested layup as well. GP of St. John said the Bucks look like a tanking team. Honestly, maybe. So just drives in on, who's number 50? Is that Cole Anthony? And takes a contested layup over, I think that's Bobby Portis. Yep. He's been missing these over, bigger players over the last few weeks. And he's been making a few more over the last few games. So I'm hoping that continues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, he should have a veteran, IQ to read plays like the last play we showed, breaking up a handoff and knowing when to drive. And like, he's put himself in positions to score, just hasn't been able to capitalize. That's a tough finish on Bobby Portis, who's a big dude. And you can see he's pumped up. I feel like it's an emphasis. He's trying really hard to make an impact and actually finish some plays on the offense. And so, yeah, and even in the Pistons, Bruce was great. So hopefully that continues, because I know fans have been really disappointed in him, which feels weird because it's Bruce Brown. He's beloved by the Nuggets.
Yeah. Let's go to the leverage play. This was just a really nice drive. Again, attacking Bobby Portis Jr. downhill. And he gets just like good leverage on him, just bumps him out of the way there and gets like a full angle to create an open layup where a contested one would have been. And then crafty drive as well. Again, over Bobby Portis. There was a lot of we'll see in these clips because I've got some from the Pistons game as well. Bruce has been really effective in the last few games at attacking poor perimeter defenders in particular. And there is serious value in that if you can get somebody off the floor. If you'll recall, in 2023 in the Lakers series, when Bruce Brown made it a point to go after D'Angelo Russell absolutely relentlessly, no matter what, and effectively played him out of that series. Now let's see him do it against Reed Shepherd.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so Bruce was really good in that game. Julian, huge contributor in that game against the Bucks. He was the leading scorer actually in this one. Got 20 points and I think 20 points, 3 assists in this game. And he's honestly been looking pretty consistent, like not really out of place not out of place on the offense, and then like not as bad defensively of late, but quality of the competition has not been the best offensively anyway.
And it's only a small sample size, barely.
But yeah, and he's doing his job on the offense. And I have a collection of clips here to show a few different ways that he was contributing. So the first one, let's look at him cooking Giannis. So this is Julian ends up getting a switch onto Giannis and runs him through a screen and just gets all the way downhill and finishes over both Giannis and Miles Turner in the paint. And boop. It looked easy. He made it look easy.
Yeah. Well, I guess it really was Julian Strawther who
big strides.
Julian Strawther ended the Bucks era.
Yeah.
Wow. Finished over both centers smoothly. If you had shown me that play at the beginning of the season, I would have been stoked on Julian. But who knows? Maybe he'll get more playing time. We had been talking about it with the fact that Bruce has not been playing good, but Bruce has been playing good now. So again, it's more guys just randomly stepping up, which is what we need at this time without Jokic. Like who's going to just be a guy who can score on any given possession? Doesn't have to be all game.
Yeah. Let's go to the transition drive because this was really impressive because of how like Julian's kind of deceptively fast getting down the floor. And there's a play I've got in here where it's a Zeke play, but Julian gets the rebound. And I was going through all of Julian's rebounds to try to find this play. And you could see every time he rebounds the ball, he's just immediately trying to push the ball up the floor and get into the offense. And it's not always him like, I want to drive and like get this point. He's trying to get the ball down the floor quickly so that they can get into their offense and all that stuff. And I think he's been doing that pretty well over the last, couple games, especially like Wizards and Bucks game. I can't remember. He did play a little bit during the versus the Pistons last night.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. He has the freshest knees out of anyone on the team, so you better be able to do that.
It's true. That's true. Is Julian the youngest on the team right now? Is he younger? No, Peyton's still the youngest, but he doesn't have as many. Julian doesn't have as many minutes on them, right?
I'm not sure about their ages, but
because Peyton, I think, is 22, and I think Julian is definitely older. Yeah, Julian's 23. Let's see. Okay. Oh, and then the other one where he is deceptively fast. Look at him. Look at speeding down the floor. Just boop,
like
boop,
a gazelle.
Boop. And made it look so he made this look so easy. And like part of that is the Bucks just like giving up. Right? Yeah. Nobody picks him up. Miles Turner's like, I'm gonna run to the rim, which is fine, but doesn't protect the rim, which is not fine. I mean, it's fine for us, but
it was just great to have his energy. Just the Bucks look tired. The Nuggets even look tired. We could barely shoot. Strawther can come in and just be a guy who needs to prove something.
Check out the pivot foot clip next. So he does a good job of holding his pivot foot down while he gets again fast here, and then makes this, pretty sweet pass to Zeke in transition. But it's like, okay, two guys picking me up. I'm just gonna like calmly hold my pivot foot, find the open guy, and drops that off to Zeke, who, credit to him, finished the play.
Let's hope
And
that clip of
again, the
him,
Bucks are like, what? Like, what are you guys doing?
Zeke Najee's dunking on you guys.
Yeah.
Which is expected because he's really good and people should be wanting to trade for him.
Giannis era ended by Julian Strawther and Zeke Najee, people. The Bucks should want to trade for I don't know. I don't want anything from the Bucks though. Let's look at the pass on the move, which is the last one. So Julian makes this really nice cut. Pickett hits him on the cut. And it's not the most controlled catch here. So, and he could have stayed in the corner, but he didn't let Gary Harris off the hook and just kept running with the ball there. And
it's a wild play
in the corner.
Starts with the flare screen, and
he
wants to get the ball for a three, but decides to just finally cut in. And good on him.
It would have been easier for Gary to close out if he'd stayed in the corner, but Julian was like, "No, I'm going to go to the open space." And like this was a really good like, oh man, these Gonzaga players just know like where to be on the floor kind of game for Julian.
Finally, we need that Gonzaga luck from these NBA
rare
players
Bruce
recently.
3. It's true, Yaman. It's true. Yeah. So like I said, he's been like a suitable, just like dude you can throw out on the floor in spurts. I was looking at just like, oh, but what do the minutes look like in terms of like, are they winning those minutes or whatever? They were winning the minutes more often than not. And most of the time when they weren't, it was like a very small, like -2, -3 in Julian's time, which is much better than it was when the year started for sure. Pickett, I think, finished this game with 7 assists. And he had some really nice ones where you're like, that's a Pickett play. And I don't think any of them involved booty ball. Okay, so here he gets the ball from Tim Hardaway Jr. on a like bad
just like
spot
swing
up
pass kind of
attempt. Yeah, sure. When Kuzma closes out and then just makes a nice little dump off pass to AG. Draws the help from kind of draws the help from actually, yeah, he does take that step out and then Pickett gets the ball to AG.
Yeah. Can't believe the paint was so open for us.
They do not care. Well, like the Bucks are so done. I want to see like where they rank on both ends of the floor, because at some point this season, I think they were like, a top half defense. Maybe I'm thinking of last year. Like they were actually a pretty decent defense last year under Doc. Oof, 22nd. So almost as bad as us, which is really bad. They're 23rd in offense. Ooh. Anyway, yeah, it's not happy over there in Milwaukee. Okay, let's go to the Spencer 3, because the other thing I wanted to point out with this one, this was like a fine assist from Pickett, but I want you to pay attention to AG on this play.
He's just like coming up to screen.
Constant motion. Ryan Rollins, who I think was also the one from the previous clip where I called him Cole Anthony. I think that's right. It was Ryan Rollins both times. And Rollins gets totally lost, but like AG commands enough attention and Spencer doesn't. But to his credit, last few games, Spencer's just been knocking down his threes. And even in the loss to the Pistons yesterday. And that's been like, I'm surprised every time it goes in to me.
He's one of the only guys making them, and he'll make them in like bunches, like 4 in a row, which is just amazing. Like,
and his defense has been really good, like really good screen navigation, like really sticking with his guy. The rebounding continues to be there. All of the things that you need from Spencer Jones, he's been giving you.
And we're getting to the Pistons game in a bit, which I was wondering if we should have played him more one-on-one in certain possessions, but we can talk about it when we get there.
Yeah. Okay, and then here, let's go to Curtis Jones's first NBA 3.
Curtis Jones.
He ends up getting
Even
this on a
he's
transition
getting
play.
into the action.
Yeah.
We might as well get everyone involved in this stretch without Jokic. Just to throw it in the league's face of how many guys we have. Just a transition pass from Pickett, and he hits the shot. It was great.
When you don't force Jalen Pickett to, back the ball out from behind the 3-point line, your transition defense is garbage. Because he will do that willingly if you put up literally any resistance. Almost a no-dip 3. Absolutely. Good call on that. Gaiman by Curtis Jones. That was almost a no-dip 3. And it just switched. So I wonder if he got the game ball. Do you think Giannis let Curtis Jones have the game ball?
Was that his first NBA points? I think
it's his first 3. I don't know if it was his first points. I think he's gotten a floater or 2 before.
I think they only do that for first points.
Damn.
But I don't know.
Let's see here. Okay, the last play I've got here from the Bucks game is this Julian rebound. But I wanted to point out Zeke Najee's role in this. And this has been talked about it on a previous show. Really important way for this team to control the glass, or at least not get killed there, is to gang rebound and guys like tipping defensive rebounds to other Nuggets. That's been really heartening to see, especially over the last, I would say 2 weeks or so. We see a lot more of these plays, and it's like, yes, this is what has to happen because you're so undersized, right? Like Zeke isn't going to just get that rebound over Miles. Like he has to like bat it away. It's kind of like, there's this old show I used to watch, that Saturday morning cartoon. It was called Shaolin Showdown. I don't know if that was like after your time, Will.
I think so.
They're like Sensei Master Feng was like did this exercise with them where with the dragon warriors in training, where he has this porcelain elephant that he tells them, your job is to take this from me. And they go through like a whole like fight montage, whatever, trying to like get the porcelain elephant from Master Feng. And at the end of the exercise, I think they almost get it from him, and then he drops it and like breaks it. And then they're like, oh, so like who wins? They're like, I win because my job was easier. Yours was to win. Mine was simply not to lose. And on those defensive rebounds, like tying it back to basketball, on those defensive rebounding situations, you're not trying to grab the rebound, you're trying to tap it to the other teammate. Like make the job easier by like spreading the, burden out to the other, to like the rest of your team, like work together.
Seems like something AG would say, would tell right. Zeke.
It sounds like something AG would watch while high.
Yeah, and that too.
All right, a note on this game from the Bucks here. One concern that somebody else brought up in the chat. Peyton kept launching himself at the rim in this game, and you notice that we didn't have a lot of great. We didn't have any clips of Peyton from this game. It was a rough one from Peyton. The last 2 really have been, and before that, the Lakers game too, or the Lakers game as well. Just kind of reckless on these drives, like not always controlled. Like nobody denies that this kid has like a ton of talent, but like the control and like the honing of those skills is not totally there yet. And that's, that comes with time and all of that. But
it's getting there though.
The reason I'm bringing this up is that you don't want to sideline yourself from continuing that development by like getting injured because you're like throwing yourself into the air with no plan for getting down, let alone like putting the ball in the basket. So he actually. Oh, go ahead.
I wonder if the ankles are still bothering him. You'd think they probably are.
So he did have a nasty fall in this game and did hurt one of his ankles. He was actually on the injury report for like bilateral ankle stuff. I wasn't sure that he would play in this game, actually, because of like everybody else that was on the injury report, because Jamal and Val both sat. AG ended up playing, but I thought he shouldn't have. And Peyton ended up playing. He didn't look great even before that because like he was pretty reckless on like the play that resulted in that ankle sprain. But yeah, I obviously hope he gets better. But I think that like just being smarter about how he attacks is gonna make him a better player because he'll be able to stay on the floor to continue to develop. Right. Yeah. Anything else on the Bucks game?
No, let's keep going. We have a lot to get to.
Yeah, so the Nuggets were supposed to play the Memphis Grizzlies on Monday or Sunday? Sunday. And that game got canceled because of the snowstorm that kind of terrorized the kind of like a lot of the East Coast, but it spread kind of along like the Southwest and like parts of the Midwest. The Denver Broncos experienced that firsthand on Sunday in that AFC Championship game. It was originally postponed. Yes, it's been postponed. And I don't know if they're going to reschedule it. There is precedent for just like canceling games outright, but not ones that happened this early in the season or supposed to happen this early in the season. It's just difficult because they're probably going to create another back-to-back on the schedule, and Denver already has 16 scheduled, so I'm not really looking forward to that. And yesterday, the Nuggets played the Pistons at home, took the L 108-109. It honestly shouldn't have been that close. It was a pretty bad energy game, especially from Jamal Murray. He clearly didn't have it. I don't know if he was hampered by injury or energy or both. It looked like both to me because he wasn't like creating separation well with his legs either, even when he was trying early in the game. It was pretty inefficient. She shot less than 40% from the field, but that wasn't the worst part to me because like missing shots was one thing. But like I was talking about how he kind of struggled to get separation until that fourth quarter. He took 18 shots in total, which doesn't sound that bad, especially for like what Jamal has been doing this season. But he only had 12 shots before the fourth quarter. And given how well the Pistons were guarding everybody else, you really needed to see more aggression from him early, even if he was going to miss. Like you gotta go out fighting in this game. And I thought this was like one of the first games, maybe not the first one this season, but the first games that was like, this looks like last season, Jamal, where he's like trying to ease himself into the game. They go down 18 early and then they're just clawing their way back or trying to. And they had the ability to do it because the Pistons offense was so bad. And that's why it ended up a 1-point game at the end, right? Mm-hmm. Murray and Pwat are just so tired, which is another reason that you want to hope that Jokic gets better and gets back soon, because like these guys are really worn out and they are not, I don't think, in a position to be continuing to carry this offense for another like a sustained period of time beyond what they have done. It's like, yes, we all very much appreciate Jokic now more than ever. Okay. But all right, lesson learned. Let's move on.
Yeah. It was sad, and no spring in his jump shot, just was airballing stuff. He was even trying to like shoot from far away, even in late clock. A lot of late clock possessions against those Pistons, which was not great, which we're getting to. It's
part of their defense is like they did a good job of contesting every part of your offensive possession. Like they press, they make it difficult to initiate the play. They make it difficult to catch the ball on passes. They're jamming up handoff actions. They're plugging cuts. They're closing. Their closeouts were very impressive to me in that game. If there was any like one thing that really stood out to me in that game, it was how good the closeouts were by the Pistons. You're like, man, why can't we do that? Like, oh no, somebody caught the ball open in the corner. It's like, oh no, they're not open anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so you want to jump into some clips?
Yeah, go ahead. You've got a number of them
Yeah.
here.
Well, I wanted to get some clips of these things that we were just mentioning about the Pistons and them jamming up actions and stuff, but a lot of it was hard to find them because they happened like before a lot of the clips started on these possessions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'll just
Right,
play
because the
this.
way that NBA does play by
Yeah.
play, it's usually the end of the play that comes up if
Yeah.
you have anything.
So I didn't have this one, or it's not on tape, but Osar Thompson was just like putting his body just in between a lot of the screens between Val and Jamal, or just breaking up handoffs, and it would lead to a lot of like Jamal just tossing the ball over to Pwat on the other side, and then him just having to play ISO or self-create, which is another reason why the Nuggets are just, it's another reminder that we need more dudes to step up because you're relying on Peyton to do this, especially with the shot clock winding down. And Jamal just looks like exhausted over there, handing it over to Pwat, and then it's just up to Pwat to do something like this. And Asar Thompson, after breaking up the screen, was able to just dig down and then affect Pwat's shot here. And it just like wasn't there and missed it, and Pistons get the rebound. And then there was another play later, which I don't have the clip of because it wasn't in the clips, but like just physically holding Murray. Like I think it was even Cade Cunningham, just like not even letting him run to get a handoff, presenting the action from even starting. And so it was hard to get Jamal, who's already tired and run down and looking exhausted, just to get him any space to work with in the first place. So it was even tougher. So yeah, it was rough. Really physical defense. And then, the paint points was an issue last night. They killed us in that. And I think we were trying to emphasize Cade and preventing him from getting in the paint. And obviously you're going to double Cade. He's like their best offensive player. And he had 11 assists last night on this play. It's just an easy swing pass to Tobias Harris, who also was a reason why we lost last night, sadly.
Yep.
Because he was hitting it.
He was great. He was the one where I was trying to think about like, how did Julian look defensively in that game? It's like, well, not good, but nobody could guard Tobias Harris. He had that kind of like 12-footer that he kept being able to get to from the post, 12 to 15-footer, and kept draining it, especially late in the game. And then he made all his free throws late, and it was just like, nope, he was nails, and he was just solid against us,
Yeah. He hit that same post jump shot on us like over and over, and then the crucial one that kind of ended up ultimately winning the game, sealing the game. But just another one where it was like we doubled Cade, and then there was just no really discipline making up for it, because it's just like an early, he's super high up. They're not even really trapping or creating pressure. The pass is super wide open for Cade to hit Tobias Harris here, and no one ends up coming to contest this. And it's just it was like way too easy. And this was early in the game.
Oh, sorry, that was early in the game.
No, it was right before half. Sorry.
I think this exact possession also happens late in the game.
Yeah. And so, I mean, Tobias Harris was already in rhythm in that time. No one contested. And so I was like, okay, I get you're trying to load up on Cade, prevent him from driving. He was really impressive. Like, he's a big dude. Like, he is an offensive weapon. When he can finish around the rim, he's going to be crazy good. And so I get like wanting to stop him, but I was like, should we have put Spencer Jones on him and just had him play one-on-one versus Cade? And even Zeke Naji had a decent possession against him defensively, which I wanted to show just because I thought it was pretty impressive, where Zeke's just taking Cade off in action and kind of staying with him. It's in the fourth quarter, though, and just like puts his hands straight up, and Cade's not even able to get a really good look at all right there, and almost was a shot clock violation. So it was like a really good defensive possession from Zeke right there. And this is like in the point where we were coming back in the game. So I was impressed by him. What else we got? Okay, so we'll go into some good offense. Or actually good defense.
Good defense. That's easier to find in this game.
Speaking, maybe we should have had Jamal play one-on-one versus Cade, because he actually blocks him and rips the ball out of his hand.
Oh, this was so cool. I was like, that's such a not a vintage Jamal. That's like a iconic Jamal type possession. Like he's done this before.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I'm always surprised by it because it's like a few times, but it's not like rare, you know? But it's such a like fuck you play, you know?
Yeah.
Like how does the offensive player like respond emotionally in that moment to just getting completely ripped
Yeah. You're like
like
on
on
the
a
way up.
drive like that? Yeah.
Not even just a
It's
block,
not
just like
fun. It can't be
stolen
fun
out of
being on
your
the other side of
hands.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And Cade, like, he's strong. He looks strong, but I mean, Jamal can be. That was like back when Jamal used to get attacked a lot on defense, and he was like, I don't want to be someone who can be attacked. And every once in a while, we get a steal like that. But then, yeah, I mean, it was a rough night for Jamal, but I liked this play because it was Pwat operating in a screen with Zeke. And it eventually led to Jamal being able to do or to attack a closeout. And it was like one of the times where Jamal actually had space to kind of attack and get downhill. Another little pocket
Peyton was
pass.
generating so much attention in this game from the Pistons. Like they like fully zoned up on him. Him
Yeah.
and Jamal, but I felt like honestly felt like it was more so with Peyton whenever he had the ball in his hands.
Yeah. And Zeke is short roll pass to the corner to Bruce, who he could have shot the three, but he elects to pass to Jamal, who this is a pretty big closeout that Pistons have to make. And it's very easy to attack when you're coming full speed and able to kind of get a nice floater there. And that was one of the easier like buckets Jamal was able to get. And so that was just like it almost like was shocking that happened because all night he was getting hounded and just like grabbed and all that.
Was that Ron Holland who closed out on Jamal? Like, it's crazy because the closeout starts as soon as Bruce catches the ball. Like, he's running towards Jamal.
He already knows. Yeah. Pretty heads up. But it was just, it's hard for even the most elite defensive players to make that closeout.
Right. But at least he ran Jamal off the line. That was clearly an emphasis for the Pistons last night, by the way, because I don't even know how many 3-point attempts Jamal got up. Let me see here. Only 6, and I'm surprised it was even 6. He went 0 for 6. He took like a couple late. Right. The 2 late because they were down 3, right? So it was really 4 attempts in the first like 47 and a half minutes of this game. And that's really low compared to his season average. And I think that was clearly a point of emphasis for Detroit.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to get to some Pwat.
Man, Val had 16 rebounds in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
he was one
impressive.
of the only guys rebounding last night.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Would you kind of expect?
Him and Zeke. Zeke had 6 rebounds. Wow.
Nice.
Bruce had 7.
Dang. Surprised.
GP of St. John says, besides being tired, one of the reasons why Jamal and Pwat look bad versus the Pistons is that the Pistons are not the Wizards defensively. That is true. They are the top of the East for a reason.
Yeah.
And it is the defense. That is the reason. It's definitely not the offense. I'll tell you that.
And just to continue on Jamal, I guess, and some Pwat, this was a kind of a cool play where Val sets a screen at the it's like a high screen, and then we've run plays for Pwat out of the corner a lot where it's like either we're screening for him into a zoom action where he's going to get a handoff. This time Jamal pulls the handoff back, but Pwat's able to just curl around another screen for Val, and Jamal knows it's coming and is ready to hit him on the cut, and then it's just Pwat going downhill, which even if you're going to tag this, is pretty tough because he's full speed. And I like that play, just not even giving Pwat the ball to then dribble, but just have him keep cutting and find an easy layup.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was rough from Pwat, but this is some good. We saw him operating, saw him running out of the corner, able to Jamal assist him eventually find the ball back to Jamal and Jamal attack. So it's not all bad, is what I'm trying to say. This is not as bad of a loss as some people were saying online.
I mean, I think the loss being bad is not about how the players played individually. It was like, well, this was
the team
within our grasp if we hadn't played like complete garbage for the first 20 minutes of the game. Transition defense was bad. Pwat was lazy.
Yes, it was.
Payton's defense was really bad in this game. I saw some people saying because he got that one stop on Cade late, like, wow, what a game. And also, like, he had I mentioned this in the Wizards game. I completely forgot about in addition to his offensive blocks, where he had 4 blocks in that game, but I did not think that he played well defensively at all. And this was another, it was just like,
it's like,
this was less in the Wizards game where that one was like, oh my God, blow-bys, like breakdowns, like all that. This game was just like, he looked physically overmatched by Cade and was not really making an overall impact in that role until like a couple plays late, which were really nice. It's like great that you can like clutch up in that way, but you know,
if he ever got stuck on Cade, he was just getting completely bodied. Like you could see how strong Cade was there.
Yeah.
Which is like, Pwat's
made you miss AG and Christian.
Yeah.
Even like you said, like Bruce or Jamal probably could have done a better job on that assignment just because they have like a stronger base than Payton in that way. And it's just like the type of player that Cade is. It's not really like that game, I think, had less to do with like Payton's limitation, like his performance, and more about his limitations as a defender. Yeah.
Well, let's go to Bruce and wrap this game up, and then we'll talk about. We can do a draft if you want.
Yeah. So Bruce and Spencer were freaking awesome in this game. Like I thought this was like a really big this was a game where Bruce was like keeping us in it, honestly. Like Bruce and Spencer was like Bruce's defense and offense, but Bruce's defense, especially, and Spencer's shot making kept us in this game when we had really no business being in it with the way that we came out to start. So they were both really great. Bruce, I have some clips of Bruce's shots at the rim again here, just cooking a variety of like not bad defenders, but like the weaker defenders on that team and making some contested layups. So the first one is Bruce cooking Ivy on this drive. And he's just looked a lot more confident on these drives and has been able to get a first step on his defender a lot better than he has for really most of the season. I can't talk. So here, that's Ivy on him, gets him around the screen, gets the angle on him, and just gets all the way downhill. No problem, right? Made that look easy, which is like not how a lot of Bruce's offense, even when it was coming this year, has looked. Let's go to Bruce cooking Ron Holland, who is a really good defender for the Pistons, a really good perimeter defender here. And I believe this is just okay. So it's an ISO, but he kind of rejects a screen from Val, gets that step on the defender, just catches Holland totally off guard with like, oh no, I'm gonna get past you.
True.
Get all the way downhill and finish that layup, which is a big deal because he hasn't necessarily been doing that even when he was getting downhill earlier.
Vintage Bruce for the Nuggets. Remember when we thought he could be backup point guard?
Who's we?
Just people speculating in the offseason.
Okay. Vyacheslav says, yes, as I was saying last show, he doesn't look confident this game. He didn't hesitate at all. Yes, I agree with that. All right, let's go to the transition dunk. This was a good defensive play by Val, just kind of getting, I think that's Holland off guard or off balance. And then but the thing I want to point out here is Bruce is another one of these guys who he doesn't have long strides like Julian, but his feet are so quick. It's very much like watching Christian run down the floor. Like he's like really fast, like these little steps, but he gets like way past everybody here. And this was a really important bucket at this point in the game because they're down 14. They need it for like important stop and important bucket to just like keep the game within like reach. And this was one of the points in the game, and there were multiple where it felt like it definitely could have and probably should have gotten out of hand and didn't.
Yeah, that was
Um,
like when I thought it was
and then
going to be
like
a really
Bruce or
bad
Spencer,
blowout.
like Bruce would make a defensive play or Spencer would make a shot, and you're like, well, okay, I guess we're still in it. Um, and then the last one I've got here is the Bruce and one.
Yeah, this was also a big one to help. Like every time it looked like the Pistons were going to get away, he
Yeah, it's
ended up
like,
doing
okay, they're going to
something.
get like a more comfortable lead. Again, cooking Ivy, getting all the way downhill, getting the bump. And then, I mean, this is similar to the play that Peyton made in the Wizards game.
Yeah, very similar. Tough
Bruce
and
is also
one.
one of these guys that's just like launching himself. I don't know how much of a plan he has when he like goes up in the air like that for that kind of layup, but hopefully Peyton doesn't, play like that too much because I think he's got a lot more skill potential than
True.
than this.
He's still figuring it out. Bruce
Yeah.
is like, I don't know. I wasn't worried about Bruce. I know people have been, talking about how bad he's been. I just was waiting for something to happen. I knew he'd have a good stretch eventually. I wasn't like worried that he was completely washed. But it's not like, I think it's also that I'm not depending on Bruce to be huge for us because we have other guys stepping up, thankfully. Pwat specifically. Like if Pwat wasn't playing as good, then I'd be worried about Bruce.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Because what have I been talking about for the last like 2 years? Well, the Nuggets need somebody to be a secondary shot creator from the wing position
Yeah.
or a guard, but it seemed like it was gonna come from at least one of the wings. Like we were talking about like Peyton, Julian, Christian. It's like we need one and a half of them to be able to do some kind of ball handling / shot creation. And now we've got Bruce in that mix too. And it didn't look, honestly, for most of the beginning of this season, it didn't look like it was like Bruce could maybe be that theoretically based on what he'd done in the past, but like maybe that time is just over and he just doesn't have that anymore. So really good to have a slasher, power player, guy who can just get these buckets in transition, um, especially with Christian out, because like Peyton has kind of been filling that role to, the best of his ability, but the transition attack this season is definitely not as potent as it was last season with Christian and Russ,
Mm.
right? And that has made it harder to get buckets, even when we're getting like these kinds of stops. So like the steals and like the runouts, the fast breaks, like all of that stuff is very helpful because it just adds to the team's like overall margin and just like gives them like a little bit more breathing room in these situations. And look, we're talking about a loss here, but like you said, there was a lot of good to take away from this game. Outside of the two main guys who really had bad games in Jamal and Peyton. But everybody else I thought really stepped up to the best of their abilities and
Mm-hmm.
they almost eked out a win.
Yeah, I felt like emotionally hurt by the way we lost it. But the fact
Yeah.
that it was like close and we almost won, I mean, that's all you can ask for. And so I'm like, I would rather us have a chance to try to steal a game in this context than get completely blown out. But if we did get blown out, you could kind of maybe sit Jamal early. So there's pros and cons to that. And I was like debating what I would rather see happen.
Yeah.
It just sucks that we didn't actually get to pull off the win, but we were almost there.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking about Peyton's defense, Tim's shooting back in this game. Again, like I said, double check the shooting line here. Yeah, 4 of 9 from 3. Like, can't ask for more than that from a guy who missed 22 shot 3-pointers straight for a few games last week. We didn't shoot well overall as a team though, and a lot of that honestly was just like Jamal and Peyton who took
who
went collectively 1 for 12 from 3.
Yeah, Jamal
So,
was just missing everything in the beginning, like from 3 specifically. So
yeah, literally 0 for 6. Like Peyton was the 1-3.
I felt like we got more in a rhythm towards later in the game. Guys are starting to make shots. I don't know if it's just the intensity of like the competition and the fact that we were almost right there to come back, and they were sitting on a plane the day before, so it kind of took a while to like get their legs under them, kind of a thing. Also, they're tired, but I felt it was like they were actually making shots at the end.
Yeah.
Besides free throws, sorry, Jamal.
It's tough when it's 3 free throws. I feel like it's easier to make both when it's 2.
It's the
Well, I
pressure
mean, not
cooker.
feel like, it literally is because just fewer opportunities for failure there when you have to make all of them. Anything else you want to say about these games before we get to our last segment here? All right.
Let's run through it.
Let's talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo some more, since he wants to be the center of the universe with his melodrama with the Milwaukee Bucks. I thought we could do like a short little draft here about the scariest Giannis trade destinations. And you can just talk about team quality, or you can talk about fit here. And it could be for immediate future or like later down the line. Although, you know, Giannis is like turning 31 soon. Oh shoot!
Yeah.
When is Jokic's birthday? Is next month. He's about to be 31. Yikes! 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 All right. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
You start.
Okay. Do I go with like the obvious answer, or do I get like super esoteric? Okay. I got one.
I only have some of the team logos prepared. I hope I have the one that you have.
Hopefully
I'll be able to get it though if you don't.
Okay. The first one I'm going to say is it's not reasonable because this team has no draft capital. Okay. It's not the Spurs. Although, like, I don't know how I feel about that because of the fit stuff and what they'd have to give up. But I'm going to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I did prepare that one.
Yeah. I think, well, first of all, like, this team's issue is not like, oh, they need to bolster their front court, right? But it feels like you can just throw a hodgepodge of players together on this team and they're a problem for Denver. Like, it doesn't matter. So I'm just scared of them having that like top end talent. And so I'm going to go with Minnesota here.
Yeah. I think like I prepared this. I haven't picked out ahead of time. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's like, I don't see how they could get the Yakislav's pointing out. I don't see how they could get Giannis. Yeah,
they can't. Is tough. These are not necessarily like likely.
Yeah. But it would be horrible if he went to the Wolves because they're already like our nemesis. And I don't want to have to deal with Giannis being on any West team. The West teams are going to be high up regardless. But them getting Giannis and like Ant being there, that would be horrible. So, but it's like, should I lower them because it's so unlikely that they would get him? Like,
I mean, they're not going to get him. It's like, it's not happening. I can tell you.
Should I go with a team that's a little more realistic? I'll say should I say like Rockets? Because
let me think about, let me run to the Rockets cap sheet right now. I'm just curious what contracts they have that are tradable. I mean, okay, they could package like Fred and Jabari.
I'll say Rockets just because, although the Spurs would be really scary too. Yeah, I'm going to say that. I'm actually going to say Spurs. Just because the Spurs are already rough for us, and I don't want Giannis and Wemby to be paired.
Fair. But I think the Spurs are rough for us because of their backcourt, not because of their front court. And I think they'd have to give up a lot of their backcourt to get Giannis. So I'm like, do I welcome this? Is that arrogant of me to be like, yeah, sure. They're not going to get him, by the way. The Spurs have already been like, no, we're not a Giannis team.
It would be a little bit weird with Wemby. Like, you want to give him as much room as you can, and you're not like on a huge rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing snake draft style, so you get another pick if you wanted to put the Rockets here. You
this is also teams that like this draft is for the teams that would scare us the most if they got him.
Yeah.
Just for clarification.
So Mad Dog, like, these are all going to be West teams because we don't really care if any East team gets you.
Well, we'll see.
Probably.
We'll see. Okay, so then I'll do Rockets second for sure.
You have two. Your two are probably better than the number one I picked already. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one. I probably should have just picked them first because they're a likely trade destination, and I think the fit's better. I'm gonna go with the Golden State Warriors. And the reason is it's like Giannis finally has literally all the space that he could want to operate with, just having Steph there. And he could operate with the ball in his hands like as much as he wants. He won't be able to run a ton of pick and roll, but like would he be like the Draymond there? I mean, Draymond would still be there because they would trade like Jimmy and whatever. But like I'm talking about Giannis's role. Actually, like that's an interesting question. Is like, can Giannis and Draymond play together? And if they do, like, does Giannis have to play some center? Draymond playing center, like whatever. That's fine, I guess. Giannis needs to start screening though. Like that would piss Kerr off. Is like Giannis needs to be a better screener than he's been.
Yeah, true.
But I do think like overall, it's like you can pair anybody with Steph. And as long as they know how to put the ball in the basket, they're going to do well.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. I still don't know why the Bucks, why the Bucks would agree to this Warriors trade. You have to take Jimmy.
They would just take the picks.
Yeah, the picks.
The picks.
This actually might be the scariest one just because it is realistic.
It's like very realistic. And like it would be like the Warriors would feel vindicated. They're like, oh, you guys wanted us to give up all our picks and like mediocre deals for guys like Lowry, Markkanen, and now we have they own all of their picks and pick swaps that so they can offer a good bit, and those are going to be pretty valuable when you're looking towards like Giannis will be there for a while, but he's got an injury history. Steph is getting up there in age. Like that is, I think, probably the dream package for Milwaukee, like from the Milwaukee perspective.
Snoozer says Giannis can run pick and roll with Dame. Yeah, I know. It's funny.
I know.
There's definitely a chance that the Warriors still aren't good enough, even with Giannis and Steph and Draymond and just everyone else around them not being good enough. But it wouldn't be great. But if it didn't work out, it would be nice if the Warriors had to give up like their future for this move, and then Steph and Giannis are old and they only have a couple more shots at it, and then the Warriors could be bad for forever.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. All right, you got another pick.
Am I gonna go with the obvious one? If they actually did this, I guess I'd have to say OKC, because even though I think the fit with Giannis and SGA is weird, nobody on OKC really fits with SGA. He just kind of does his thing and they play really good defense. The thing that they were missing is a rim pressuring slasher, like finisher. I've been saying this since the Maverick series that they lost, right? So it's like if you traded, and honestly, another dream package for the Bucks if they could somehow pry J-Dub away from OKC. I don't think OKC does that, but they get the pick,
getting hurt a
picks
lot
on top of that too. He has been getting, well, he got hurt and he then had surgery, and like there are things like lingering from that. Things the Thunder are already so good that it's like I feel like anything they do just makes them worse.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the only reason that this moves down, is like it doesn't make me more scared of the Thunder.
They would be,
and I think it probably makes them a better playoff team. Like I feel like this makes them a better playoff team, but probably a worse regular season team. Somehow.
Interesting.
Probably because they'd have to give up iHeart or something. But they're probably going to lose iHeart next year anyway. Because
if the Bucks could somehow just really, not like they would fleece them because they're smart, but like just pry away a little bit more of the depth, and the reason why that they are tough is because they have so many great players on the roster, and kind of dilute that. That's why I had them lower as well.
Oh my God, they have a team option on iHeart. Dude, their cap management is, I'm so jealous of them and the Pacers cap management.
Chet and J-Dub for Giannis is what Yemen's hearing.
No.
Yemen.
Presti like hangs up the phone and calls the FBI if the Bucks ask for Chet and J-Dub for Giannis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to put the Warriors and OKC in my 3-4 just because, or maybe, yeah, I'll just do that.
Oh, so we're just ranking. Okay, so I can take yours now. I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Wait, do you want to do it that way?
No, it's fine. There aren't enough West teams to do like a full
Yeah, but then we might
anyway.
get to some more interesting other teams.
Okay, let's do that then. I want you to have to think about it a bit.
Okay. Whoa, don't look at the screen. It's glitching. Okay, then I'll draft the... Oh, shit, I got to think of another West team now. Like Clippers or something, I guess? What?
Is that scary? Like...
Blazers?
Well, hang on now. Like, they are... You hate this term. Sneaky talented.
Sneaky talented.
They are sneaky talented. This team is right around where I thought they'd be, around 500. They're probably going to be in the play-in, barring any like weird stuff over the next few weeks. But there's weird stuff that happens at the bottom of the bracket, and there's not that much separating them and 12th place either. Like Memphis is, I mean, it's quite a few losses actually. They could be a really good defense, but my thing with Giannis is like, do you want to put him on a really good defensive team so that he plays better defense and contributes to better defense and like raises the ceiling on that end of the floor, plus can contribute like his stuff on offense? Or do you want to place him in like a really good offensive system? Because like I feel like the Rockets, the Spurs, and like the Blazers to a lesser degree are kind of the former, and like the Timberwolves potentially. Maybe not, because if you're trading Giannis or trading for Giannis, you're probably giving up Rudy, who's like literally the backbone of your defense. But like the Warriors are like maybe like the one offensive system that kind of like immediately makes sense for me with Giannis. Everything else is like, what's a good team where he won't mess things up? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, with Steph Curry, it's a lot easier to fit yourself.
And the thing with the Blazers is they don't have, like, I don't think they're there yet. Like, they're a young, talented team, but I don't think they're there yet. And at the same time, they don't have like some transcendent young talent that can kind of push Giannis or like capitalize on Giannis's like post prime while being on the ascendancy yet. Like if it was like the Timberwolves, for example, because it's like, well, if you've got Ant and Giannis, like we can figure something out for like a few years, even as Giannis like starts to decline. You know what I mean? That's why I had the Wolves like higher. But I feel like if the Blazers had Anthony Edwards, they'd probably be a better team.
I mean, the Blazers right now, like I'm trying to think of like who they'd give up and who would still be there. I just don't like they wouldn't be that good if Giannis
let me look at
there, because there
like,
just wouldn't be that much left.
Who's the obvious like trade? Because they don't have like huge contracts. They don't have huge contracts on the book.
I mean,
you could trade Drew and Jeremy and picks. They've got,
just because they're like older and
they've got some picks. They've got some swaps.
Drew back to the Bucks would be funny as hell.
Oh my god, I didn't even think of that.
And Dame is still in there too.
Oh my god, I forgot about that too. Wait, I want this to happen for the content.
No, I don't want him in Portland.
Like actually the problem was Doc Rivers, and now we've got Tiago Splitter, and he's gonna make everything work between these two supers. That would be hilarious. Also, now Dame is only making 12 million a year instead of 50. Like that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by this. I don't think it's like enough to put them into like top tier contention, but it would definitely make the Northwest Division even more interesting, which is what I don't want. So I'm okay with this selection by you.
Yeah, they'd ask for Denny for sure. We'll see though.
Okay, fine. They can have well, for maximum humor, Drew has to be in the deal.
So I have another
his contract's too long. So it would be like Jeremy, Denny. That's not enough money. Jeremy, Denny, and like, would they just part with Scoot and be like, you can have him? Because that money would work, and then
I would do that easy. Yeah.
That would be
give them
hilarious.
up.
And then it'd be like, yeah, we're gonna move forward with Shade and Sharp. That'd be so funny. Anyway, what's your
so
next
am
pick?
I picking again?
Yeah.
I am going to go Knicks.
Okay.
Just because if we do get to the finals, I'm already worried about the Knicks as it is. Although less so these days.
Less so. If they trade for Giannis, like Cat's out of there, and like that's our problem.
Yeah. Which seems
him and Brunson, but like
Cat.
I feel like Giannis makes Brunson worse. Like it feels like another Giannis and Dame situation.
It could happen. He's already kind of struggling. Something weird is going on with Brunson.
Yes,
but
he's not having as good of a year.
But it's just like a team in the finals in the East that, it's Giannis. If he's healthy, it's always scary. The Lakers. We'll see if Grace picks the Lakers.
Oh yeah, I forgot about them. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I think putting the Knicks is fine. So we got to get to some East teams. I'm just looking through the rest of the East and trying to think of like, okay, my number 4 is going to be the Boston Celtics because like they take a bunch of threes.
That was going to be my last pick.
Yeah. So they take a bunch of threes and Giannis like spraying out to 3. And then now they'd have rim pressure. They would actually get to the basket and take some shots at the rim and maybe take slightly fewer threes. Maybe they take more threes because Giannis teams take a lot of threes by virtue of his interior gravity. He wouldn't get to handle the ball as much for sure with that personnel, but it's like I can't see that not fitting. Like I can't see him like ruining their offense. Plus they'd bolster the front court. You do have it does result in like sliding Tatum to small forward, which is not really his best defensive position. And who knows how that's going to look post Achilles too. But maybe Joe Mazzulla is like, actually, Giannis, you're going to be playing a lot of 5 here. You're just going to have to deal with it. You're 31 now. You're not as fast. We got to get you to learn how to play drop better than Nimi Ishkeda, which is like a low bar. But you have failed to clear for a few years now. And we're going to spread teams out and make their lives absolute hell on offense. That would be very scary. Vyacheslav says, besides White, do they have picks? I mean, Boston doesn't trade their first round picks, so I feel like they own all of their... Yeah, they own all of their picks except the 2029 to Portland. Well, they have a swap in 2028, but they have a pick to trade. They have their picks.
Oh, here you go, Grace.
The thing is that's
Giannis
less
to Magic.
That's not scary though. Like that team can't shoot. Like that's literally hell on earth.
That would just be fun for you. Maybe.
Would it?
I don't know. Giannis on the Magic.
I do think that like the Bucks would probably do that just for like, okay, we're probably not going to get too much in this deal, but we'll take like a young player with a lot of upside. And they probably want some picks as well because Giannis is a way better player than Paolo. And then just kind of like move forward and like, okay, we're going to build around Paolo and whatever. He's really young. Like Paolo, I think is like 21. Am I tripping? 23. Oh, he's 23. Julian's age. Okay. After the Celtics, I had something in mind. It was in the West, and then I totally lost it. Oh, right. Here's my thing with this one. It's not a fit question. It's literally just, or it is a fit question, but it's not because of fit that I'm picking them because there is a question. But it is the Lakers. And it's because of what I said earlier, where it's like, well, you're just always going to have Giannis until he retires at that point. And at the same time, you have this like younger talent who's like on the ascendancy in his career. And you'll just always have a chance. So similar to my Timberwolves pick, except like the fit isn't obvious on either end of the floor. It's just like, okay, here's your LeBron replacement, basically. Have at it. Little
Yeah,
more
it would suck.
athleticism.
That would really
Um,
suck.
yeah.
Luka
So
and Giannis. That's. I feel like that's. I mean, every superstar is like rumored at some point, or at least like it's fan fiction that people are
well, it's
shipping
fan
the
fiction
star.
until they get Luka Doncic for a box of Lucky Charms, as
Mm-hmm.
Yoit's when stated on Twitter the
This
other day.
also isn't going to happen
Yeah.
at all. But
Yeah,
for
because
my
they don't have anything that they have one pick left and they shouldn't have any because Nico freaking sucks.
hmm.
Then Bucks should be prioritizing draft capital. Like the Lakers don't have anything that the Bucks should want. All these other teams have much better trade packages, except the Timberwolves. Like the two with the like my top and bottom have terrible trade packages for the Bucks, but Golden State, the Thunder, the Celtics all have their
Mm-hmm.
picks. They have the Celtics not so much with like intriguing young players. They have like role player guys, but not really like star upside guys. The Thunder obviously have young players that would be interesting to Milwaukee in addition to their plethora of draft picks. I haven't looked at OKC's the recent tally on their stash here. In the next, so let's just look through 2030. The Thunder have 1, 2, 3, 4. Jesus Christ. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm like counting because I'm trying to like calculate the protections in my head and the likelihood that these picks convey. They have like 14 picks over the next 5 years, including this up. Like OKC has too many picks in this upcoming draft.
Crazy.
They literally have Houston's pick that is going to be it's only top 4 protected. That's going to convey. They have the Clippers pick. They have the Wizards pick. Oh, sorry, no. The Wizards have their pick. My bad. So that's 2. And then they have the Sixers pick that's going to convey. So that's 3. And then potentially, if Utah can't stick their butts in the bottom 8 of the draft lottery, they have Utah's top 8 protected pick as well.
Thankfully, the Clippers are doing a little bit better as of late.
Yes, thank goodness for that.
Okay, I'm gonna make my last pick, and it's gonna be. I was debating between another West team, like potentially the Suns would suck. Not that I think they would get him, but if he teamed up with Booker, and I don't want to. It's just annoying when the Suns are at all relevant, which is they're doing way better than I thought. But I'm gonna say Pistons. Because if the Pistons got Giannis, they're already looking pretty good.
They've got Cade.
Cunningham's looking
they meet
promising.
All the criteria.
Cade's like potential MVP level. He's like getting there.
Sure, but you don't even necessarily need that. Giannis could be somebody's Kareem. I mean, then again, like Magic Johnson was MVP caliber, like generational, like MVP caliber and all that. But did he even need to be for those teams to have succeeded? Maybe not.
Yeah. But it's just, they look good and physical. Add Giannis to that mix. It's like, it's kind of like the Thunder with Shea, where it's like they just have this elite MVP level player surrounded with young defenders. Yeah. Giannis just does what he does. And then everyone else just plays defense. And Giannis already can be a rim protector. So that would be scary for sure if he went there. No shooting, though. Yeah, they'd have to like get they're already depending on Duncan Robinson to basically be their single shooter, I guess. Maybe Cade develops. I don't know. But for number 5, they might be scarier than the Knicks, honestly, if Pistons got Giannis, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they just wait till the off season so I have more time to contemplate what this would be.
Yeah.
For the league at
large. I know.
large.
I wanted to wait till this off season because mid-season trades often don't end up, swaying a team into title winning territory. for the most part. They definitely go to the finals, but Giannis is a special player, and I would rather just get through this off season or this season with teams all waiting for Giannis in the wings, and we can have our playoffs and not have any juggernauts being built to also have to deal with.
Yeah. Yakislav, no shooting, and Giannis goes 10 for 14. Give me that all night long. Is that what happened in that game?
Just like if he was on the Pistons.
Oh, yeah. Jesus, that was so bad. That was like, I'm trying to think of like the worst offenses we've watched this season. And like most teams look decent offensively against us. But then you have like the Wizards game. And honestly, this Bucks game might have been worse. It was, or not the Bucks game, the Pistons game might have been worse.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing? It was tough.
And Ryan said that the Pistons look like the best team to play against us in Ball Arena this season, which I was like, really? I mean, their defense, yeah, but
yeah, their defense, yeah,
shoot.
but like they're playing against like Jamal and Peyton and friends, like.
Yeah, and they almost lost.
I mean, I don't know. I disagree with Ryan about that one. Who's the best team? The team that looked the best against Denver in Ball Arena.
Mm-hmm.
We've had so many losses at home.
The Kings. That's what Matt said.
In the win that they had, they looked pretty good. Like they looked decent.
Yeah.
We were actually maybe we'll do this on a future episode, but originally before this Giannis news, we were going to do like a retrospective on our like Western Conference standings predictions. And I was like, I was kind of shaky on this, but I stuck with it. The prediction that the Kings would be last in the conference, and look where they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Good pick.
It was a good pick. I was going to pat myself on the back, and now I have. So
there you go.
Anyway, if you guys have stuck around this long, you guys are the absolute realest ones. If you do like our content, please remember to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on socials. All our links are in the description. And always remember that winning is fun and losing sucks, especially losing to like one of the worst offenses I've seen in a long time.
We're going to be fine.
Yeah.